Welcome back, guys, to another video, and this is a pretty exciting video because I get a chance to talk about some games that I really enjoy. And it's not a series or anything like that. It's actually compilation games. Alright, now what I like about compilation games is if you are getting into a series or maybe a company, you can get like these little collections, rather it be on a cartridge or disc, you know, any sort of media, and you can kind of get into it and play all these different games. And what's really cool about all these compilations are they're mostly very cheap. I mean, most of these that I'm showing you guys, I have a lot more compilations, but these are my favorites, and I've gotten these mostly for under $20. So let's go ahead and check it out. Now, the first one I want to show you guys is very nostalgic. This right here is like, it's arcade for me. This is all the games I grew up with as a kid. And this is the Midway Treasures 2 for the Xbox. And to say this is Midway Treasures is an understatement. This game has so many great arcade titles. It's got Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, Gauntlet 2, Narc, Xenophobe, Primal Rage. Oh man, I mean, these are the games that I grew up with, you know, being a kid in the late 80s, early 90s. This is what was hot in the arcade era. And I do have Midway Treasures Part 1, and that has a lot more of like the classic arcades like Defender and Joust and the first Gauntlet and Spy Hunter. And those are all fun, but there's just a little special something that this version has for me. And definitely check it out, guys. Just a little heads up though, if you're getting it and you're like me and get it for the Xbox, it is not backwards compatible with the Xbox 360. So if you find this at a thrift store and you find it really cheap, keep in mind you're going to have an original Xbox in order to play it. And notice I didn't say Xbox One. I still get confused about that. Now, the next one I want to talk about is a series that I've really enjoyed. And one of these days I would love to have a console made by this company, and that is the SNK Arcade Collection 1. Now, I love Neo Geo, but Neo Geo back then and even now is a very expensive company. It's a very expensive thing to collect for, and so many great games are on this compilation, and you can get you know, the Fatal Fury games, freaking Last Resort. One of my absolute favorites, Magician Lord, which is really fun. Great soundtrack. It's a little hard, but it's a lot of fun. And of course, one of the games that are on here is one of my favorite games of all time, and that is Metal Slug. Honestly, if you've never played Metal Slug, you owe yourself to play this game. And I almost could say I love Metal Slug a little bit more than Contra. That's just the way it is. I've always been a fan of all those hand-drawn sprites. But of course, when people talk about SNK, SNK did have a rival, one of my favorite companies, very nostalgic, and that is Capcom. And this is the Volume 1 Arcade Classics Collection. This has over 22 arcade classics, including Street Fighter 2, Ghosts and Goblins, 1942, Legendary Wings, and who could forget Forgotten Worlds? Man, this is so much great games are on this compilation, and I cannot stress enough how much you guys need to get this. Just to play the original Strider is worth getting this. And again, like Midway Treasures Volume 2, I do have this for the Xbox, and it's not backwards compatible with the Xbox 360. So if you also find this out in the wild, you're going to have an original Xbox. But they did release it for the PS2. So, and I believe they also released Collection 1 and 2 on the PSP as well. So there are other ways of playing all these great games. And speaking of great games, a company I love a whole lot, and that's Sega. I'm a huge Sega fan. I love the Sega Genesis. So when I heard about this compilation, I had to have it. And honestly, a lot of these games I already have behind me, but having the Sonic Ultimate Collection, oh my gosh, this has everything that you need to get started if you've never had a Sega Genesis, or this is something that you should get if you don't have a Genesis anymore. It's completely, all the games are completely redone in HD. You also have some achievements, so that gives it a little bit more replay value for all you achievement and trophy hunters. It was also released on the PS3. But man, it's got all the Streets of Rage games, all the Golden Axes, all the Sonics, Alter Beast. It's amazing. And what's really cool about this too is it does have some Sega Master System games that you can unlock. So essentially you can have Phantasy Star 1 through 4, and you can have all the Shining Force games on this disc right here. And this is it's actually a very cheap compilation. I think it's gone as low as like about $9 online now. So for $9 and over 40 Sega Genesis games, that's all I gotta say about that. Now, the last two I want to show you guys, and these compilations are probably the best or my favorite that I have in my collection. And it's kind of crazy because these games have been going up in price, and this is a great way for someone to play these games that if you don't want to dive into emulation. And one of them is going to be Mega Man Anniversary Collection. Now, what's really cool about this, it has Mega Man 1 through 8, even has some of the Power Battles that was originally released in the arcade. It was kind of like a boss rush mode. And man, to see some of the prices of the Mega Man games on the NES, it's gone up so much now. So for any sort of like, you know, a casual player that just wants to play some Mega Man games, I highly recommend this. If you're not wanting to go for a whole set of the original Mega Man games complete in box and spend a fortune, because they're getting up there, this is definitely something really cool. Now, the only thing is about the GameCube version that I'm holding right here is they actually switched the buttons. You know, the B and A buttons are a little different for the jump and shoot, so that's a little bit something to get used to, but it doesn't break the game. I still enjoyed it, and you can also get it on PS2 as well, and the Xbox. And the last one I want to show you guys, because I'm a huge Mega Man fan. You guys are like, man, he's got the Mega Man Anniversary Collection. I also have Mega Man X Collection, and this is also on the GameCube. And you can get it as well on the PS2, but this has all 5 of the original Mega Man X games, which is another series that's been skyrocketing. The Super Nintendo games alone have been skyrocketing on eBay. So it's a good way to play some of these games and really enjoy it. I mean, it's from the Super Nintendo to the PlayStation. You're going to get every single Mega Man X game on this collection. I think it even includes the Mega Man X soccer game, if you guys remember that, and I think it's an unlockable. And that's kind of what I like about these compilations as well, is you can unlock a lot of concept art, a lot of developer interviews, and like I said, when it all comes down to it, this is something that all of you guys can get into and kind of sink your teeth in some games and have it in a convenient packaging of like one disc or one cartridge. So anyway, guys, that is my compilation collection right there, and I have a couple of more. I'm looking over here on the shelf, like a couple of Atari ones and whatnot, Namco. But here's where I want you guys to come in. I want you guys to leave a comment telling one of your favorite compilation discs, and it doesn't have to be a disc, it can also be a cartridge like the Sega Genesis 6-pack. That's an excellent compilation right there. But leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And as always, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and as always, happy gaming.